Let me follow along with you guys here so I can see all the comments coming in. But we are going to be talking about building your brand, building your speaker brand, getting on stages, the whole shebang. So if you guys have any questions about anything, make sure you ask the questions. Let's see, David's on. All right, what's up, David? Alio. All right, so we got some people joining. All right, we got a few people joining. Cool. So we're basically going to be talking about just building up your personal brand as a speaker, getting on stages, charging as much as you can possibly charge to get on a stage. And so what I essentially want to go over is just when I talk a lot about just getting on stages and I talk about building out your sales process, none of that actually matters if you don't have a really good brand in general. So that's why I want to kind of back up a little bit, start talking about the brands. All right, so good morning, David. All right, good morning, Ricardo. Hello, Ricardo. What's up, everybody? So like I said, if you guys have any questions, make sure you ask the questions, but understand that whenever you guys hear me talk about the sales process and getting on stages, building out your event pipeline to get on a stage, you need to have that personal brand in place, the website and all that stuff in place, because that's what you're going to send people to when you're talking to them, when you're contacting them, and when you want to get hired, when you're selling your speech, selling your products, whatever it is you're selling. That's essentially what you're trying to do. All right, what's up, Chuck? All right, so essentially, I remember it wasn't too long ago. Well, actually, it was literally like during Christmas time because it was like a Christmas party out here. There was like another high rise just right over there, like literally in walking distance from me. And so this guy, he has a business, pretty big business. He had a little Christmas party event over there. So there's all these business people there. Like everybody there is pretty much a millionaire. And so I go to the thing and I meet a guy there who's talking about direct mail. He's like, hey, you got to have a great direct mail campaign. Nobody's doing direct mail nowadays except this one guy. He's killing it off direct mail. You guys want to have a direct mail campaign. So he's talking about direct mail. And I'm thinking like, okay, I can see it because not a lot of people are doing it now. And if you do anything right, it's going to work. And so he's like, I'm the best in the industry. And he knows like everybody. He says he knows everybody in the industry, right? So one day, after that, I get his contact info and we stay in touch. And then he comes over here. So he comes over here and he's like, yeah, Benji, we can blow up the business. We can do some of this direct mail stuff. We'll just blow it up and we'll start doing all this stuff and all this. No, you're going to like, what's your goal in terms of income? And we were talking about all this stuff, right? And he said something like he'll charge me for, I think it was like 3-month period. I don't know, let's say $15,000 or something for the direct mail. And so in my mind, I'm thinking, okay, that's not a lot, but I thought it's a lot in terms of I still don't know what he does, all right? So even though I knew that he did direct mail marketing, he didn't give me any details about what he was going to do for me. So all he was saying is that how great he can do the direct mail marketing and how much it's going to make and all this stuff. So I didn't know anything about this guy. I just met him at that one Christmas party. Even though I know a lot of people are ballers over there, I just met him. I've never heard of this guy. I looked at his website. There was no website at the time. Now he has a website, but still, it's like, so the whole time I'm thinking, all right, this guy wants 15 grand from me. I don't know who he is other than him claiming that he's really great at what he does. So I don't know who he is. I can't look him up because he has pretty much nothing online. And so in my mind, I'm like, no. And so as we were talking, I told him, I said, well, what exactly are you going to do? Like, tell me exactly what you're going to do. And he says, well, we'll figure that out after you pay. And I'm thinking like, oh man, all right, forget it. Basically, the sales process for him was hard to sell me because he had no brand whatsoever. I didn't know who this guy was. I didn't know how good he was or how bad he was. I had no information about this guy. I couldn't look him up online because he pretty much didn't have a website. Even when I looked at the YouTube videos, it was like old videos and it was just very simple videos as well. So he didn't have any case studies in terms of like, hey, I literally work with this guy, call this guy up, nothing like that. So he had no brand. So I couldn't pay him. If he asked me for $100, I still wouldn't pay him because there was literally no brand. Whenever people are trying to hire you as a speaker, trying to pay for your products, whatever it is, they're simply thinking, is it worth it? Like, is this speaker worth it? That's all they're thinking about. Like, is this speaker going to freaking dominate when we bring them into our event? Are they just going to dominate? Or is this product that they're selling, is this thing going to actually get me the end result? That's the only thing people are thinking about. So when you have this brand and that brand demonstrates it, it says, look, I'm the greatest speaker alive. I mean, I know I wear purple all the time. I know I look good, but I'm also the greatest speaker alive. When your brand can literally say something like that, then it does all the work for you. So basically the sales come in easier. The whole sales process is easier. You don't have to convince people because they're already sold. You can charge higher prices, all sorts of different stuff. So you guys have to make sure that you get the brand part right. And if you, let me go to move this thing out the way. Let me go to my website here. So when you are building your brand, in terms of your speaker brand, the first thing that you want to essentially do is just kind of look at the overall website. You're just going to look at the look and style of your website. So when someone scrolls through my website, and this isn't even my speaker website. This is just like the main Benji Bruce brand type website. But when someone scrolls through your website, they should instantly see like, okay, this person is probably worth what they're asking for. So they're asking for $15,000 to speak. They're probably worth it. They can look at the videos, see Aflac, AAA, Remax, all sorts of people in terms of reviews. So you essentially have to think about the actual look of you in general. It doesn't matter how good you are if it doesn't look like you are actually good. So you have to first think about the overall look that you give off, the overall impressions, literally like the clothes you wear, right? And it's just like, I mentioned this in a few other videos, to where imagine if you go out and you look homeless and you walk into 7-Eleven, you ask to use their restaurant or their restroom. They're going to say no. They're going to be like, it's for customers only. But if you go and you look like this, you got a suit on and you say, hey, where's the restroom? They're going to say, oh, it's over there in the back. And that's exactly what happens. The same goes with your website and everything. Barry says, I see purple. Cool. All right. So, essentially, if you're going to build that brand, what I essentially look for at first is I look to see, do I look like I'm worth $1 million? And I remember years ago when I really paid attention to this, there's this entertainer out in the UK. A very well-known guy. I mean, he's like Copperfield out here, and then this guy named Darren Brown out there. And so I remember I looked at his website, and I was like, okay, it's a pretty nice website. I go to the contact page of his website. And on the contact page, I remember seeing there, it said, if you want to hire him, contact this email. For all media inquiries, contact this email. And I thought to myself, like, damn, like this dude I know he's big time, but damn, in order to have a separate website or a separate email address just for media inquiries, I was like, is he really getting that many media inquiries like all the time? But what it did to my mind is it said like, damn, this guy's like on a whole new level of big time if he needs a separate email just for media inquiries. So what I did is I simply took that idea and I put it on my website too. I was like, shoot, contact Benji Bruce here. For media inquiries, contact him here. And so little things like that, it really does matter, because when you start shifting your entire brand that way, you naturally start to charge more. You just make more in general. You don't have to go through the sales process as much. And so what you're essentially doing is, a lot of speakers in general, they're thinking like, well, what am I known for? Or like, how do I figure out my niche and stuff like that? And this is something that you kind of have to figure out in the beginning, but there's no possible way you can essentially know in the beginning. In the beginning, you say, here's what I think I'm going to be known for. Here's the market that I think I want to enter. And you just start testing it out. You just start getting into that market. So if I'm a speaker or an entertainer and I say, you know what? I'm going to get into the college market. I'm going to start contacting colleges, and, let's just see, right? So I'll essentially build out the website first. I'll build it out just for colleges, and I'll say, well, what do colleges want? So I know colleges, maybe they're afraid that the speaker or the entertainer is going to be boring. They'll probably get booed off the stage, because college students probably will boo your ass off the stage. So they're probably thinking that, like, we don't want someone who's boring. We definitely want someone who's hella entertaining, because that's the only way you're going to keep their attention. I mean, these are college students, so that's the only way you're going to keep their attention. So they're thinking those things inside of their head. So I'm going to put all that stuff on my website. Then as I start talking to them, as I start contacting them, what's going to happen is they're going to respond to my emails or to my calls. They're going to say certain things like, yeah, I mean, we might be interested, but I mean, like, have you done this in the past before? Like, what we've noticed is that college students tend to do this. And then you start listening to that information as it comes in. And you put that stuff on your website. You're like, okay, they said that college students have ADD. So I'm going to put that on my website. Your college students have ADD, but this speech is so amazing that it's going to literally cure them of ADD. So I'll start putting stuff like that on the website, right? So what you're doing is you're figuring it out as you go. That's how you're figuring out your entire brand. The best way that I've heard this described was nobody is born an adult. And basically, everyone wants to get to the very end. Everyone wants to get all the way to the end of whatever it is, whether it's building $1 million business or whatever it is, building an amazing brand or whatever. Everyone wants to be born an adult. That's not how it works. No matter what your ambition is, no matter how smart you are, no matter what, you cannot be born as an adult. You start out as a baby, newborn infant, and this is where you're figuring things out. And as you go, you start to mature, you start to get older, then finally you're an adult. That's the same way it works with your brand, with your speaker brand, any type of brand. In the beginning, you're essentially just saying, all right, here's my best guess. Let me just keep going. And that's kind of what you're doing when you're building up your entire brand. I've mentioned different ways to do this in terms of like building up your brand as fast as possible. So for example, let me go back here. So for example, on my website, let's say I'm building my brand literally from scratch. I don't have any pictures, no videos, no nothing. Essentially what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to websites like Shutterstock. I can't actually see what's in there, but hopefully this is Shutterstock. All right, cool. So I go to websites like Shutterstock. I'll type in things like audience, and I'll essentially just like look to see what these pictures are, and I'll take pictures like this, and I'll create a cool image on my website with a picture like that. So for example, let me go here. So let's say I'll buy a picture like this or a picture like this. Let's see if this will load. So like people with their hands raised in the crowd and stuff like that. So I'll buy pictures like this, and I'll figure out how can I incorporate that on the website. So I'll do something like this. All right, so let's see if this thing will load here. So literally, you see the crowds with the hands raised. You simply just buy a Shutterstock image, and you just create a cool image like this for your website. And then from there, you can start creating other stuff as well. But you have to get creative with stuff like this. Or, for example, let's say you don't have a video. What you do is you create a video like this where you just hire a videographer, you pay him $500, and then he'll just create a cool About Me story video. In this video, it's literally just me telling my story. There's no pictures or no video footage of me on a stage or anything like that. It's literally inside of this high-rise just telling my story. So you have to get creative, especially in the beginning. You have to get creative with how you're going to get video, how you're going to get pictures, how you're going to build your brand. So that's essentially what you want to think of when you're building your brand. And if you're building a brand, other than, let's say you're building your brand as a speaker, you want to sell products, and you know that you got to create a product around a niche or something like that. A lot of people say things like you have to be passionate, like you build a brand around your passion. That is not what you do. It is absolutely not what you do. I don't care who says it. It is not what you do. You can be passionate about whatever the hell you want. It doesn't mean people are going to pay for it. You have to be passionate about things people pay for, things that people want. So it doesn't matter what you're passionate about. The only thing that matters is what they're passionate about. That's the only thing that matters. This is where a lot of people get into trouble because they don't understand that their passion and building a business are two different things. It's very similar to how a chef essentially says, you know what, I'm a great chef, I'm going to start up my own restaurant business. Then what they find is that they're not cooking anymore. They're now doing accounting. They're now hiring employees. They're trying to figure out all these employee laws, and they're trying to do the marketing. They're basically doing everything but cooking. and they're doing everything but their passion. The same thing goes when you're building a business. You can be passionate about whatever the hell you want. You got to understand you're building a business. And when you're building a business, that's when you focus on the marketing, the sales, and you focus on all the other things. So it's not about what you're passionate about. It's about what other people are willing to pay for. So you're essentially thinking along the lines of, what skills do I have, or what knowledge do I have that other people are willing to pay for? That's how you have to think. Not about what am I passionate about. No one gives a damn what you're passionate about. You can be passionate about freaking whatever. You can be passionate about anything. It doesn't matter. It doesn't mean that people pay for that thing. So you essentially have to think, like, is there a skill that people are interested in? Is there some sort of knowledge? Or is there, like, in terms of entertainment? Entertainment's that's kind of harder to think about, because the problem that entertainment solves is more along the lines of, I just want to relax, right? So it's like, I'm getting home. Let me just relax, watch Netflix. So it's like everything technically solves a problem, but you have to think, is this something people will pay for? That's what you really, really have to think. It's not about what topic you want to speak about, what you want to sell. None of that actually matters. It's just, do people pay for this thing? And then when you're building your brand, you have to think in terms of repetition. So this is where Donald Trump did a brilliant job. I mean, it's no wonder why he has a really big brand, right? When Donald Trump was doing the election, notice what he did to his opponents. He kept calling them nicknames, right? So it was Lion Ted, Crooked Hillary, or in case of the Kim Jong-un guy, he's like Little Rocket Man. So he created these names and he kept saying them over and over and over. So you associated Hillary with being crooked, and so you associated Ted with being a liar, right? So he just took these very simple concepts and just said it over and over in every interaction. He didn't say Ted Cruz. He said, oh, Lion Ted. He never said Hillary Clinton. He said Crooked Hillary. He branded them as that thing. He said, here's the thing that I'm going to make them known for. Because they essentially didn't know what their brand was. So Donald Trump said, all right, I'm going to brand them. That's literally what he did. No one can actually say what Hillary's campaign actually was. Nobody remembers it. Everyone remembers Donald Trump's thing, Make America Great Again. No one remembers Hillary's or anybody else's. Because what Donald Trump did better than everyone else is he branded them and he branded himself in a better way through repetition. He simply said Lion Ted over and over, Crooked Hillary over and over, Little Rocket Man, I thought that was hilarious actually. But he kept doing that over and over and over. So when you're building your brand, it's not any one thing that you're doing. It's something that you do over and over and over. And eventually people start to catch on. Eventually people say, oh yeah, that's the guy who, oh yeah, that's the lady who, and that's essentially what happens. It's all through the repetition. And what you're essentially thinking of is, with the repetition, because it happens over time, you have to also think in terms of what are the touch points that people have with you. So it's like what I mentioned earlier with the direct mail marketing guy, right? So the first touch point that I had with him was when I met him at the high rise at the Christmas party. So the touch point, it was cool. He seemed cool and everything. He seemed like a cool guy. But then I looked him up online. I was like, well, who is this guy really? There was nothing there. So there was no touch points in general. I just couldn't find him online. And the stuff that I did see, I saw a video from 5 years ago, which was obviously those videos are bad quality and all that. So the touch points that I had with this guy is, number one, it was a first good impression. He seemed pretty legit. When I looked him up online, there's absolutely nothing. The only thing that I see is this old looking video where it was maybe a minute long, and I'm thinking if this guy is really as good as he says he is, why doesn't he have stuff out there? And so the touch points essentially killed it for me. And you got to think the same with your brand, with your website, right? When people go to your website, they should instantly see okay, this is a person who probably is doing pretty good or something, right? They should instantly see little things like this. See, I'm in a TV studio here. Little things like that actually matter, all right? And so people have to essentially just kind of look around. They don't even need to read anything. They should be able to just look around and instantly see. So one of the things I keep mentioning, everyone do is essentially go to themeforest.net, and when you buy a WordPress theme, you're essentially just looking at the overall look of the theme. Does it look good? You're basically being a huge stereotype. That's pretty much what you're doing. You're like, you know what? I'm going to stereotype. I'm going to say, does this thing look good or not? And so that's kind of what you're doing. You're scrolling through. You're saying, does this look good? Oh, this isn't actually the whole website here. So you're essentially just scrolling through and you're saying, does this look good? And if it does, then you can essentially go with it. Like this is a nice, clean looking website. So it looks smooth, right? I'd still choose something different, but still it looks pretty smooth. You have to understand that that's what's happening is people are looking at things like your website, your videos, little things like that. Is literally why I moved into this high rise. I was like, how do I build instant credibility with anyone who's never seen me before? Let's say this is the first video they watch. And let's say I don't say a word. I mean, let's say it's the dumbest content in the world. Let's say, I mean, it's just freaking dumb. I'm just like, you know what? Hello, everybody. Hello, everybody. And let's say that's just all I do for 30 minutes, right? And let's say I'm moving around with my phone. I'm just saying, hello, everybody. Hello. Well, still what you see is the background of a high rise. And you're like, wow, all right, this dude must be doing something if he lives in a freaking high rise, right? It's literally impression, all right? And that's literally what you're going after. So you're thinking of ways of how can I build credibility? Like what will have an effect on people? So you say, here's what this thing is associated with. The high rise associated with luxury, richness, wealth, all that. Here's what it's associated with. I'm going to associate myself with that thing, all right? That's kind of what you're doing, right? And that's literally the reason why I moved into this high rise. I say, you know what? The best way to demonstrate that I'm doing pretty good is literally a high rise. It's like that way I don't have to say anything in the video. Is just instant credibility. Now it's a matter of they have to disprove it, right? So that's kind of what you're doing when you're building up your personal brand. All right, so any questions about building up your personal brand in general? And I do want to point out that you are going to have to put in the work. And what I mean by put in the work is that in the beginning, your brand is always going to suck. Like it's always going to suck absolutely in the beginning because you probably don't know how to build a website. You don't know how to do the videos. You don't know how to get good video testimonials. You don't know any of that stuff. You don't know how to get good graphic design images, none of that stuff, right? So in the beginning, your brand is probably going to suck. But what you do is you get the best brand possible. You build up the best website possible to begin with, and then you start updating over time. So in the beginning, you're essentially doing free work. So if you're speaking on a stage, you speak for free. Or you pay to speak on a stage just so you can get on a stage. If you're selling a product, you offer it for free to get a case study. Then when you have the case study, you now have proof to show. But in the beginning, you have to put in the work. That way people can actually see that this person is legit. It's like the guy that I mentioned earlier, the direct mail marketing guy. Because he had no case studies, no nothing, I mean, for all I know, he put in the work, but I couldn't see it. So it's the same thing where for all I know, you could be a speaker. You could have been a speaker for 50 years, for 100 years, for all I know. I mean, hey, you could be the greatest speaker in the world. But if I can't see that on your website, if you have no video footage, if your website looks like crap, if I can't see that on your website, it's all over, right? Let me show you. Let me show you Les Brown's website, right? Oops, I don't know if I literally can't see what I'm typing. I think I typed that in right. All right. So let me show you Les Brown's website. Here's what I like about his site is he makes it very simple in terms of like what he is and what he does. Like he makes it very simple about, hey, one of the world's most renowned motivational speakers. He says, I'm a freaking motivational speaker. That's literally what he says. If you go to other speakers' websites, they don't actually say they're a motivational speaker or anything. You literally have no idea what they actually do. You go to their site, they say things like, I'm the visionary speaker of success. And you're like, what the hell does that even mean? The visionary speaker, what? And you're like, I'm the speaker of hope. When you truly believe and you hope the world around you is going to mold into something that you want to have happen, I'm the speaker of hope. And people are like, I just want a motivational speaker. You're like, yeah, but that's what I do. You're like, you just say you're a speaker of hope. What? And so it's one of the reasons why I like Les Brown's website, where Les Brown, he's very simple. He's like, hey, motivational speaker, right? And so notice that Les Brown, I can like scroll through and I see this is a nicely built website. There's still a couple of things. I should probably send him an email. Look at this. They didn't update this text here, but still, like when I scroll through though, he has a great website. Like if I didn't know who Les Brown was, all right, let's say I show this to someone who literally has no idea who this guy is. What's going to happen when they go to his website, they'll see this little video in the background. They'll say, like, okay, that's pretty cool. They'll see these logos here, Success Magazine, NBC Inc., Washington Post. They'll scroll down, and they'll kind of just scroll through. They'll see this is a nice designed website. They'll see the videos here. It's just nice, right? The logos, all that stuff. So instantly I think, okay, this is a guy who's probably worth it, right? So that's essentially what's happening when you're building your speaker brand. You don't want to think along the lines of like how most speakers do, where they're like, I'm the speaker of hope. You just want to think along the lines of like Les Brown. I'm a motivational freaking speaker. That's what I do. And so that's kind of what you're doing. So let's see. Tammy said, when are the industry icon calls? So Tammy, those are inside of, so if you go to the Speak Pro Academy, let me show you here. Where's the Speak Pro Academy somewhere? All right, wait, that's the wrong. Let's see. I'm trying to see which one's the freaking Speak Pro Academy. All right, so yeah, basically it's inside Speak Pro Academy. We'll go over that. Oh, cool, this worked. So I tried to embed the Facebook Live on the website, and it worked. Awesome sauce. All right. So yeah, if you go inside Speak Pro Academy, just click on industry icon and then click on the 11 steps, I think it was. That's where you'll see the Facebook Live. All right. So Alexander says some marketers say that brand building is a waste of money. It's ego masturbation, and very little of it leads to raw sales. All right. So Alexander, to all those guys who say that it's a waste of money, number one, they probably have a brand. That's probably why you've heard of them. And then two, it's like, it just makes absolutely no sense. Tell that to Donald Trump, who has the number one real estate brand in the world, like absolute number one in the world. It doesn't matter if he's good or not. He has the number one brand in the world. Apple, they don't have great phones. They have the number one brand in the world. Well, no, actually I do like Apple's phones, but Apple, when you compare Apple to Android, there's like no huge difference, other than the fact that Apple has like $100 billion more than Samsung with their sucky brand. So it's like, look at all the very well-known people, Gary Vaynerchuk, Tony Robbins, Grant Cardone, all these guys, they all have a brand. And Gary Vaynerchuk, he's not the best entrepreneur in the world. Grant Cardone, not the best salesperson in the world. Tony Robbins, not the best motivational speaker in the world. But Gary Vaynerchuk has one of the best brands of entrepreneurs out there. Grant Cardone has the best sales brand out there. That's why the dude freaking dominates, damn near a billionaire. Tony Robbins, the best motivational speaker brand out there, even though he may not be the best motivational speaker, but the dude freaking dominates. Anyone who tells you a brand has no idea, who tells you that brands aren't worth it, they're simply talking about, in the beginning, you want to focus on the sales, and your brand is going to naturally happen. All right. So what you don't want to do is you don't want to just waste money. So you're not just trying to throw away money like, hey, let me get some likes to our page. That's not what you're doing. What you're doing is you're building up you're basically just making yourself well known. The more known you are, the easier it is to generate sales, the easier it is to charge higher prices, everything. Anyone who says a brand isn't worth it, I guarantee you they're buying branded products. I guarantee you they're like, a brand, oh, it's just not worth it. Tell them to pull out their phone, guarantee they're going to have an iPhone. Tell them, like, hey, what do you buy? Do you buy the name brand cereal, or do you buy an off brand? Do you have Tide, or do you have an unknown brand? Every single person who tells you that a brand is a waste of money, guarantee you they buy branded stuff. They heard of guys like Gary Vaynerchuk, Tony Robbins, all of them. Guarantee it 100%. They don't know what they're talking about. All right, so let's see. I'm not sure how I actually say your name. D. Conez. All right, so let's see. You said, all right, how are you sharing your screen, please, with Facebook Live? Can you share the secret? Nope, I'm an illusionist. We just don't share secrets. I just can't, sorry. The way I share my screen is I stop time, right? And I move the camera up, and then I put the camera right next to the screen, and then I show you guys the screen, and I mess with time, and then I restart time, and I put it back. That's what I really do. Or I use a software called Ecamm, E-C-A-M-M, or that one. Personally, I mean, the truth is that I stop time, but you might think that I'm using software like Ecamm. So let's see. Diane said Grant Cardone's a Scientologist. All right. I got to school you guys on some of this stuff, right? So imagine if Hitler, all right, Adolf Hitler, imagine if he came up with E equals MC squared, the thing that Einstein came up with. Imagine if Hitler came up with that. Would you not use E equals MC squared just because it came from Hitler? Even though it's right, 100%, E equals MC squared, and even if we didn't use it, we wouldn't have GPSs and basically nothing. We'd be screwed, right? Would you not use it just because of who it came from? When people say things like Grant Cardone's a Scientologist, or I don't like this person, or whatever, I'm not paying attention to this person's stuff, it's a matter of who cares. Does it work or does it not? And so you have to disassociate yourself with, or disassociate the person from the advice. It's just a matter of, is it right? That's all that matters. Who cares if this guy's a Scientologist or whatever? Does it work? That's the only thing that matters. All right. So let's see. Dave said KISS isn't a band. It's a brand. Yep, exactly. Yep. All right. So any questions about building your speaker brand in general? Remember, you guys got to build that brand. So here's the process of getting on a stage. In order to get on a stage, you have to contact an event. You have to say, hey, I'm the greatest speaker in the world. You got to bring me to your event. That's basically what you got to do. So you got to contact an event to get them to bring you in. What are they going to do? Inside of their mind, they're thinking, how do I know this speaker is good? Actually, you know what? I saw a speaker bureau that literally said this. Let's see, Speaker Bureau. It was literally the first thing on their site, National Speaker Bureau. I think it's these guys. See, look, first thing they said, your event is far too important to risk booking the wrong person. That's the first thing they say on their website. When a meeting planner is looking for a speaker, when everybody's looking to buy anything, they think, is this worth it? I'm a meeting planner, and I say, you know what, I got to hire a speaker. This dude better not freaking suck. This speaker better not suck. So is it going to be worth it, right? And how do they figure that out? How do they figure it out? Are you worth $10,000, $15,000? How do they know you're worth it before they see you speak? What they have to do is they have to go to your website. They have to look at your videos. They have to look at the testimonials. They have to look to see, well, what events have you done before? What companies have you been hired by before? They have to look at that stuff in order to make a decision. That guy who had no brand with a direct mail marketing, my decision was hell no, because he had no brand. Like, I couldn't find anything out about the guy. So people don't believe what you say. Like, they can care less about what you say. People assume that whatever you say is going to be a lie. You have to prove it to me. Don't tell me you're the greatest speaker in the world. Show me you're the greatest speaker in the world. That's what your brand does. That's what the website does. That's why you need to have a great website and everything. Because when you contact them, they're going to look to see, well, how do I know the speaker's worth it? All right? Or entertainer or product that I'm buying. So how do I know it's worth it, right? So you said, don't mind the advice, just not going to buy stuff, though. So in terms of talking about GC, Grant Cardone, I mean, I don't care if you buy stuff or not. So in terms of just building up a brand, it pretty much just comes down to essentially, what do I want to be known for? Is there a skill that people are paying for? And then you essentially build out your brand with the website, with the videos, all that sort of stuff. That's pretty much what it comes down to. And then remember, you're building it out over time. Any questions about what you guys, about building a brand or speaker brand or anything like that? Any questions about it? And I'm going to be doing a whole lot more Facebook Live videos now as well. But any questions about building a brand or just getting on stages in general? Really, like I said, so the biggest difference for me when I was able to go from charging a couple hundred to getting like $20,000, $30,000, it was literally focusing on my image. I started out as a magician, so that was the first thing. Now, when you think of magician, what pops into your head? What pops into your head is kid parties. So you're like, oh, come out and do my kid's party, right? Our kid bar mitzvah. And that's literally what happened. People would say, I would say I'm a magician. They're like, oh, my kid, we've got a birthday party coming up next month. Can you do that? I'm like, no, I hate kids. And well, I wouldn't say that, but that's what I thought. But still, like that's literally what would happen every single time. No matter what I did, I said magician, people always thought that. Then I say, you know what? Let me switch to illusionist. Illusionist sounds better, right? And it actually did help. Like I switched to illusionist. They were like, oh, cool, right? Then I went from illusionist to mentalist. Nobody knew what the hell mentalist was, so that still helped a little bit. Then I went from mentalist to a speaker. Once I went to a speaker, I mean, my rates just like instantly doubled and tripled, like just overnight, just instantly. Because speakers, their value is perceived as higher than a simple magician, right? So it just instantly increased just by changing my brand up. Eventually, I did have to actually speak, but essentially, my whole brand was just changing what people called me, or well, what I called myself. From there, I was able to increase my fees. All right, so Michael Ross said, are you going to do a website building website? What? Are you going to do a website? Am I going to do a website building website? I assume you mean the brand builder boot camp that we're going to do. But yeah, coming up inside the Speak Pro Academy, we're going to be doing a boot camp just where everyone's going to build out their speaker website within 2 weeks. Everyone's going to have a bomb-ass website in like 2 weeks. All right, so let's see. So Diane said, whoops, all right, hold on. So I said, I heard a tip about creating video by using still photos of yourself on stage combined with your voiceover. Thoughts? No. So I would never do that. Back in the day, like way back in the day, about 2 years ago, that's something I would have done. But now I wouldn't. And the reason why I wouldn't is because you can just create an about me story, just like the one that I have on my site. So like if you guys go to benjybruce.com or benjybruce.org and you scroll down, you watch this video here, or you can click on this thing here. But if you go down here, this video of me telling my story, that's much more effective than a video of just simple like a slideshow. A slideshow, it comes across as like really cheap. I haven't seen anyone who could do a really like great job with it, with an entire slideshow of with like no video footage whatsoever. Speaking of, so let me show you something else here. So let's go to YouTube. So a great videographer can make anything look great. Will Smith, Michael Jackson. All right. So if you guys should watch this video of Will Smith talking about his first meeting with Michael Jackson. One, it's a world-class, it's like a world-class demonstration in telling stories. Two, it's a world-class demonstration in how your videographer can make you look like a freaking rock star simply by sitting down telling a story. It can be your story. You can tell your story about you. You can tell a story about someone else, like how he's doing with Michael Jackson. But it's a perfect example of how a great videographer can make something so simple seem insanely great. And that's kind of what you want to do if you don't have video footage. Instead of like creating a collage of pictures, just sit down and tell a story and have your videographer do something like that. Let's see. So more good with the brand show. All right, cool. All right, so Diane said speakers are more than entertainment. Yep. Yeah, so speakers pretty much are entertainers. Yeah. So Michael Ross said, how did you make the transition credibly? So the way I made the transition credibly by changing brands, it was essential. I just claimed to be what I wanted to be. That's literally what I did. So I literally said, I'm a motivational speaker. That's literally what I did. So I went from magician to illusionist to mentalist to speaker to motivational speaker. I literally just said, that's what I am. That's it. And then once I said it, Obviously, it was a little harder in the beginning because people would say like, oh well, we see videos of you doing entertainment, but we don't see any videos of you speaking. And so I was like, well, that's because the speech is, we just don't record the speech. I mean, it's so good. We just don't record the thing. It combines entertainment. So that's literally the excuse that I made. I literally said, I remember that there was an excuse for why I had no video footage of me speaking. It was something like, we don't record the speeches, because we just put in the entertainment or whatever. But I literally had an excuse. In the beginning, it's always harder because, like I said, people just don't believe you, right? So it's just harder in the beginning. That's why I tell people you have to either speak for free or pay to speak on a stage. That way you can get that video footage. But like the transition was simply me claiming that I'm a speaker. A lot of people, they refuse to claim to be the thing that they want to be. And this happens with like creating content in general. So like, let's say I want to speak about sales, right? Or actually, no. Let's say I want to speak about something that I literally know nothing about. Commercial real estate, actually. So let's say it's commercial real estate, okay? I know like this much about commercial real estate. But let's say tomorrow I want to wake up and I want to be the commercial real estate guru, like the guru. The first thing that has to happen is I have to believe that I can be that guru. I may understand that I'm not the guru right now, but I can be that guru. That's the first thing that has to happen. I have to get out of my head this whole imposter syndrome of, oh, you know what? You don't have $1 billion in commercial real estate. You can't talk about it, Benji. You just can't talk about it. So I have to get that out of my head. I have to say, you know what? It's not about me. It's about the people that I want to do business with. It's about the people that I'm going to sell a product on commercial real estate. It's about these people. What do they want? They want to learn how to invest in commercial real estate. So how do I build a brand around that? You know what? I don't know anything about commercial real estate, but I've got a guy who lives in a high rise over there who literally owns a yacht somewhere, and he owns his own island, and he owns a couple of buildings. I can go interview that guy and talk about commercial real estate. You know what? I can go do some research, and I can talk about commercial real estate from the research. I can go interview people, right? So the first thing that has to happen inside of my head is I have to believe that I am the authority, and I can be the authority. That's the first thing, right? And what happens with a lot of people is they have that imposter syndrome of, you know what, I'm not a motivational speaker right now. You can be one. That's all you got to believe. It's like, maybe I'm not a great motivational speaker right now, but I can be one. I can sit there and I can practice until I become one. I may not know anything about commercial real estate, but I can be the guru simply by interviewing other people who know stuff about it. Then eventually I'll learn the information. Then I can teach it directly. So it's just a matter of understanding that belief first when you transition into anything that you want to build a brand around. You have to get it out of your head of this whole imposter syndrome and all that. It's almost like you have to be delusional in a way. So let's see. Elio said, what are the common branding killers that speakers normally have on their website? So the common branding killers, I would say the number one thing is just a bad website in general. Just the overall look of the website, that just kills everything. I go to someone's website and I'm like, was this built like in the 1800s? What's wrong with you? Come on, man. So that's the first thing that I see in terms of just killing the brand. The next thing that I see is that they just don't describe what they do in a way that people understand what they do. So this is what speakers, like, I think what happens with speakers is that everyone reads too many motivational books and everyone's like so focused on the law of attraction, they forget about the law of practicality and they forget about science. So what happens is speakers kind of go off in this woo-woo world where they just assume people know what they're talking about. So they start saying things like, I'm the vision of hope speaker. And people are like, what the hell does that mean? So it's like, versus like Les Brown, if you go to his website, he says, I'm the world's leading motivational speaker. That's literally what he says. What happens is speakers, they want to shy away from that stuff because they're like, everybody's a motivational speaker. You know, I'm different. Everybody's a motivational speaker. Everybody's a motivational speaker because that's what people freaking pay for. I mean, it's like, is that simple, right? So those are the two biggest things in terms of like a brand killer. And then also the fact that, how I mentioned earlier, where nobody is born an adult, where a lot of people, they want to start at the end. They're like, all right, I want to sit down and be able to write out what my brand is today. Even though I don't know what it is or anything, I want to be able to sit down and create my entire brand that's going to last for 100 years. And they think they can start at the end. They think they can figure it out immediately. What happens is you can't. You simply say, all right, this is what I think it is. Let me go out there and test it out. Let me go out there and try it. And then you start to evolve that brand as you go. So those are probably the biggest things. Is number one, just a horrible website to begin with, or like no website. Two, they just don't communicate what they actually are. So no one knows what they are. And then three, they just want to go too fast. So those are the biggest things. Any other questions about building your business, branding yourself in general? The key thing to think about with branding is the whole repetition stuff. Like, I'm telling you, if you guys go back and watch Donald Trump and what he did to his opponents, he destroyed them during the election. Like, he was like Crooked Hillary, Lying Ted. He had a name for everybody. Little Rocket Man for the Kim Jong-un guy. Actually, if you read his book, The Art of the Deal, he talks about it in there as well in terms of branding in general. But it's like branding is all about, you say, what do I want to be known for? Is this a thing that people pay for? So remember, you got to link those two up. What do I want to be known for? Is this what people pay for? And then you think in terms of building that image around that thing. All right. Any other questions about branding, building the personal brand, or any of the speaking stuff in general? I'll wait a couple seconds because I know there's a delay. Let's see. All right, so while there's a delay, I'll read the comments. Oh my goodness, Benji, you're so amazing. Oh my goodness, I love the purple. Oh, you're the cutest guy in the world. Oh my god, I want to be you. Okay, you have amazing eyes. Your voice sounds so sexy. Okay. Thanks for the comments. By the way, you guys might not be able to see these comments. I do. Any questions about what you guys should be doing with your speaking business? Like I said, we're going to be having more of these Facebook Lives. I will do a Facebook Live in a couple days, actually, probably on Wednesday. All right, guys. So let's see. So Diane said, I'm not seeing those comments. Yeah, Diane, I mean, they're invisible comments. Like, only people wearing purple are allowed to see those comments. But I'm pretty sure I saw them in there somewhere. So thanks, everybody, for showing. Oh, okay. We got another question here, Rocco. Roxy, are you familiar with doing a press release and that allowing you to use the ABC brand on your website? With doing a press release and that, so Rocco, in terms of, so I'm assuming when you say doing the press release, I assume you mean doing the press release to get on TV, and then I assume you mean the next question is, once you're on TV, can you use those logos? I think that's what you're saying. That's what you're asking. Rocco, aren't you the lawyer? Rocco, you're a lawyer, aren't you? So in terms of actually doing a press release, I do want to mention, by the way, so to get on TV, it's not as hard as everyone thinks it is. To get on TV, what I did to get on TV is, in the beginning, I sent out a press release, all right? And so I sent out a press release because I thought that's what you had to do to get on TV. It didn't work. I figured like maybe I just didn't write the press release right or something. So I created another press release. I'm like, okay, this is brilliant. This tells a story. This is brilliant. I sent it out. It's like, didn't work. So you know what? Third time's a charm. Let me send out another press release. Somebody's going to freaking say yes. I mean, I'm a freaking entertainer and speaker. How could they not want this on their show, right? So I sent out another press release. Didn't work. I was like, this is stupid. Freaking PR people talking about press releases. This is dumb. Then, instead of sending out a press release, I freaking sent out a Facebook message. I say, you know what? All right, here's the producer on Facebook. Hey, I was wondering, would you be interested in bringing me on your show? I mean, I can combine entertainment with the thing, blah, blah. It was literally about 2-3 sentences. That's it. And then I included a link to a video. She, like, within an hour, she literally said, yeah, sure, come on next week. I'm like, damn. All right. So then I went and I contacted another producer on Facebook. I said the same thing. I was like, hey, would you be interested in bringing me on ABC, blah, blah, blah. Once again, within like 2 hours, bam, just that quick. I was like, damn, forget these press releases. And so what I would do, like nowadays, instead of sending a press release, I would send them an Instagram message, a LinkedIn message, a Facebook message, a tweet. I would just contact them through social media. And then, of course, an email. So it wouldn't be any one thing. Like, I wouldn't just send one email or make one call or one press release. I would do everything because on TV, the producers, they get contacted a lot. Like, I remember, years ago when I was on TV, I asked her, I was like, how many people contact you? She's like, at least 100 a day. And this is a local news channel, right? And so you got to think, like the big ones, they're getting thousands a day. So the way I grabbed their attention was through a Facebook message. That's essentially what I did. So let's see what I followed up with. There is a service that you can submit things like publishing a book or press release, and then it allows you to put the network brands on your web. Oh, okay. So Rocco, okay. So that I'm pretty sure you can't do that, but once again, it comes down to whether or not you get caught, I guess. It's like technically someone can literally put all sorts of logos on their website. Then it's just a matter of do they see it and do they tell you to take it down. That's literally what can happen. I know guys, actually, I know a guy who actually does do that, where he actually has a publication with like Entrepreneur Magazine, Forbes Magazine, and he actually says you can pay him like 10 grand, and then he'll write an article about you. Now you can say that you were in Entrepreneur or in Forbes and stuff like that. I know a guy who does that. I'm pretty sure he got sued by doing that. Like, I'm pretty sure you're not allowed to do that or something, but I don't know. It just comes down to whether or not you want to do it. Honestly, like in terms of stuff like that, none of that actually matters in terms of logos like that, Entrepreneur, Forbes, and all that. In the long term, sure, it's great to have it on there, but that's not the thing that's going to allow you to get a $15,000 speaking gig. What's going to allow you to get a $15,000 speaking gig is the fact that you have great video footage. That's what people really want. So the Forbes magazine, ABC, all that stuff, it's great to have on your website, but it doesn't tip the scales. And the reason it doesn't tip the scales is because everyone knows that you can simply take logos and put them on your website. I can literally go on right now and just put a gang load of logos on my website. Everyone knows that. But what you can't refute is the fact that I have the vice president of Aflac saying, oh my goodness, we just hired Benji Bruce. Holy crap. So what you can't refute is like a video testimonial where I can say, look at Aflac, look at Remax, look at AAA. That's what people can't refute. They can't say, he didn't do a show for Aflac, he didn't do a presentation for AAA. People can't say that because I can say like, booyah. So that's what really matters. It's not really the logos or paying for stuff like that. If you're going to pay for anything, pay to be on a stage and grab that video footage. That's essentially what you want to do. So Eldon said, what is your favorite motivational speaker other than Les Brown? I actually don't have a favorite motivational speaker, not even Les Brown. I look at everyone and I look to see what can I learn from this specific person. So like Les Brown, great storyteller. I look at Will Smith, great storyteller. I look at Grant Cardone. I'm like, all right, people follow him because of his energy. I look at Gary Vaynerchuk, same thing, his energy, right? So I look at every single person. I say, okay, why do people follow this guy? What do people like about this guy? Whether I follow him or not doesn't really matter. I learn from everybody. I don't care if I like him or not. Actually, there is a guy who I really do not like truly dislike. I still, like, if something of his pops up, I'll still watch it because he's really good at what he does. So I can care less whether or not I like someone or whatever. It's just a matter of what can I specifically learn from this person? What can I specifically take from this person that I can put inside of my head? That's all I care about. So it's actually, speaking of that, so you want to do that in terms of everything you do. So I remember it was literally like 2-3 days ago. When you buy almost any of our programs, we always upsell you. We always say, do you also want to buy this thing, right? So some of you guys have done that. You bought the $49 program and said, hey, would you also like to buy this thing? And then if you say no to that, you're like, well, what about this thing, right? So it's just a simple upsell, downsell thing, right? Someone messaged me. They bought a program. They said, you know what? I didn't like the fact that you do this upsell thing. You offer other stuff. I want a refund. Give me my money back. I'm like, fine, here's your money back, whatever. And I thought I was going to reply and say, instead of getting pissed off that someone's trying to sell you something, learn how someone built a 7-figure business selling you something, all right? You have to learn how someone is selling, not get mad that they're selling. All right. And so a lot of people do that. They don't learn from people. They just get mad at someone. And you have to think, freaking Donald Trump, another example. All right. I was looking at all these people. If you look at every single person who got caught up in a scandal, okay, look at every person who's ever got caught up in a scandal. Tiger Woods, the whole the whole sex thing and all that. He got caught up in a scandal. Kobe Bryant, the whole rape thing, he got caught up in a scandal. Freaking everyone with the Me Too thing, like everyone's caught up in a scandal. Donald Trump, when he was doing the thing, right, when he was doing the election, caught up in a scandal. Who, like, think about it, look at this, who actually got through the scandal unscathed? Who? Out of everybody, who came through a big scandal unscathed? Tiger Woods got destroyed, absolutely destroyed. Hillary Clinton destroyed with her emails. Everyone, Matt Lauer, like everyone says, this dude's a nice guy, nice TV interviewer, everything. He got caught in the Me Too thing. Bam, he got fired, like instantly. The only people who did not get, who came out unscathed is Kobe Bryant and Donald Trump. What did they do that other people didn't? All right. Look at, I'm telling you, just go back, look at it. What did they do? Neither one of them apologized. Neither one. Kobe did not apologize for the rape thing. He was like, I didn't freaking do the thing. I didn't do that. He's like, we just had sex. That's it. He's like, he didn't apologize. Donald Trump, he was like, that's just the way guys talk. That's locker room talk. Look at every person who actually got caught up in the scandal. Matt Lauer, Tiger Woods, all these people. Look at everyone whose lives got ruined. They all apologized. All right. Every single one of them. All right. And so what I do is I simply look at things like that. I don't care if I like them or not. I don't care if I like Trump or not. I just look to see, what can I learn from these things, all right? And that's where most people, they go wrong. They're like, oh, well, he should have apologized. And I just simply look at the facts. I'm like, he didn't apologize. He became president. I don't know. Hillary apologized. She didn't become president. She didn't become president, right? So that's all I see are the facts. So that's essentially what you want to think about in terms of everything that you're doing, not about whether you like someone or not, or whether someone's a great motivational speaker or not. You simply say, what can I learn? What can I take from this situation, this person, this thing? What can I learn? It's not about, oh, he does too many upsells. It's like, this guy has a 7, 8, 9-figure business. What is he doing? That's essentially what you have to think about. All right, so let's see. Eldon said, that's like rock and roll creativity. Take from anywhere to create. Yep, exactly. All right, so May McDaniel said, are the website templates available yet? No, so the brand building website templates are going to be available when we actually start the brand building boot camp in a couple of weeks. All right, so Tammy said, at the end of the day, we are actually selling. Yep, exactly. Yeah, I mean, I can't stress this enough in terms of just like learning from people or things or situations, whether or not you like them or not. It really just comes down to just saying, all right, what do I need to improve my situation? I can't, I mean, there have been so many times where people say things like, oh, there's the upsells, or like, oh, you email every day, right? Like you email too much. I'm like, instead of saying that, maybe you should learn something. Like, I don't know about you, but my business is doing pretty good. Instead of complaining, you might want to learn a little something here. So, but you'll never see someone like me actually say that to anyone, all right? What happened is people who have big businesses, they don't say that to people because now they just make it worse, right? You just make it worse. Like the person who said she was pissed off at the upsells, I wasn't going to tell her like, well, maybe you should learn from me instead of getting pissed off. I didn't say that. I just said, okay, fine. Go do what you want to do, right? Because I truly feel sorry for her. I thought to myself like, wow, this is a person who just won't learn, right? She's stuck in her own ways, and whatever doesn't agree with her is wrong. That's essentially her way of thinking, and so it's just going to be hard for her to learn and take it up a notch. So you have to just start thinking like, well, what exactly can I learn from this situation? How can I apply that to my specific situation? That's kind of what you're doing. It doesn't matter if you agree with it or not, if you like the person or not. It doesn't really matter. Any questions about building your brand, building your speaker brand, getting on stages? Any type of questions at all? or any questions? We only got a few minutes left. It's going on an hour. I'll wait a couple seconds because I know there's a delay. If you guys want me to help you out in terms of getting on stages, building up your brand, join the Speak Pro Academy. That's where we do everything in the Speak Pro Academy. I help everyone get on stages, build out their brand, everything. Go to speakproacademy.com. I'll help you guys build out your brand, get on stages, charge more, the whole shebang. All right, so thanks everybody for showing up. We will have more of these Facebook Lives. Thanks again. Take care, guys.